Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with
the professor.
Wrestling.
He is a stalwart in the Spinebuster Championship Wrestling, also the Dealer's Choice champion currently in the Platinum Wrestling, is it association?
It's Platinum Championship Wrestling.
Platinum Championship Wrestling. I was trying to do the memory, but we'll get more into that as we go along. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Well, I think, as I've been saying, if everybody's starving for content lately, and there's not been a lot in the South Georgia, North Florida area, so we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us.
Yeah, there's barely any wrestling at all.
No, yes, there is barely any wrestling. It's starting to creep back a little bit here.
Yeah.
The general question we ask everybody, and I think we're interested, is like, what got you into wrestling to begin with?
So when you say, do you mean what got me into it as a kid, or do you mean what got me into the wrestling business?
Let's go with a kid and then into the wrestling business.
Well, I've been watching it since I was, out the womb. The first memory I have, it's Stone Cold being thrown off the bridge by The Rock. Immediately that night, went to my mom, I cried. I said, they done killed Stone Cold. And the next week, here we go, The Rock's got a eulogy for Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then he comes out and he puts The Rock in this grave and, beats the crap out of him. That right there, that memory is the start of where my love for wrestling began.
And that was sort of like the precipice
of
the Attitude Era.
It was the spark.
The spark, okay. And what then got you into the wrestling? I've heard you talk a little bit about this on your podcast you just put out.
Well, I ain't really put those out. I've actually got a podcast coming up. Maybe the info will come out. People will understand. Hey, it'll be there. But the story is how I got into the wrestling business. So my grandfather, he died of leukemia, and at the funeral, we had the procession and all that, and then after he was buried, we went back to the house, and here's me, my uncles, my dad, the family. We're all sitting around drinking, playing cards, and all that, and we're not trying to be sad, right? Instead, we're telling stories about how this man had a great life, and we saw at the funeral how he had so many great friends, right? And all the things he did, I said to myself, I'm just working at a Walmart, working hourly, doing nothing with my life. I need to do something. So it came up, my uncle said, you're a pretty big dude. You might want to get in that wrestling thing. I said, I don't know, man. I'm out of shape, and I can't really do all that. He said, I think you could do it. You're already going to the gym. I said, you're right. So here I am. I'm going to Planet Fitness. And we all know Pure Goodness. Pure Goodness is there. He's a trainer. He's helping people out. And I'm wearing a Kevin Owens shirt. So he says, yeah, I met that guy. I talked to him and all that. I said, I've seen you at wrestling matches. I was at one thing at Wild Adventures. And Pure Goodness, I asked him, how do you get into wrestling? He's like, well, you know what? I got a guy you could talk to. You need to talk to Preston Paradise and Johnny Maverick. They run Spinebuster Wrestling Academy. I said, all right, cool. Who do I, so I just need to message that page? He's like, yeah, go ahead and set that up. So here I am. I message them. I say, hey, I'd like to try out. They give me all the rundown. Come up in March. We get to March, do the tryout. Boom, here we go, and it takes off from there. I mean, the story is locked in place. I can't tell it any better. I say Spinebuster Wrestling Academy has given me all the tools I need right now to be where I am right now.
Does it give you as far as what have they given you? Other than the basics of what goes in the wrestling ring, but
discipline.
Okay.
We are held to a regard to where Preston Paradise is not going to put anybody in the ring to make him look bad. And so if you were on that stage and you were doing things for Spinebuster, you have been given the green light and you are an extension of what he's given you.
So it's basically he doesn't want his name tarnished if you're going to go out there. You're representing Spinebuster Wrestling Academy.
Essentially, that's what every trainer should do, right?
Is you're a walking advertisement.
If you're giving someone knowledge and you're giving them something to work on and giving someone that push, it's an extension of yourself and it's coming back to you if anything happens.
So as you got into this, and you get into the nuts and bolts when it comes to the wrestling through Spinebuster Wrestling Academy, what is it, as a fan, what do you think, let me rephrase this, what did you think you knew, but then kind of had to relearn as you got into what goes on to what it is to be a wrestler? So to clear it up, what do you think fans understand when it comes to wrestling?
It's a fight. And that's how it should be treated. You think about it this way. Why do you put a guy in a headlock? You want to cut off blood flow to his head so he ain't thinking straight so you can pin him to the mat. It is a legit fight. Why do you hit somebody in the head? Why do you take out their leg? Why do you target anything? Why do you put this man's back to the mat so you can win? It's a fight. I mean, I didn't get it. I thought it was all theatrics. I thought it was all just, you all do this stuff and you cooperate with each other and you do all this crazy stuff. You got to think about it from this standpoint. It's a legit competition, and it's you and the guy versus the fans. You have to make sure they are believing it because they're going into this aspect, it's all fake. But you know what? What they don't understand is we have to put our bodies on the line. We aren't really getting paid that much. We're sitting here in front of 300-something people, and you're going to break your body, and the wrestling business is very unfair. Like, it could be taken away from you like that.
Right. We've seen that with Johnny Maverick, and we saw him 1 week, and then within 4 or 5 days, he's making a retirement announcement from in-ring action.
Yeah. It can be taken away just like that, and it's very unfair. So you have to put your body on the line and make sure you're smart with it to give the people a show, because they're still paying money to see you, right? They're coming in to see you. They're paying their money they got a ticket. They want to come in. They want to see all the crazy stuff. They want to see a fight. They want to see maybe some bloodshed, right? Because people are wanting that bit of entertainment. You don't go to a concert and expect everybody to stare at their shoes.
It depends on
this
what type of music.
This is why grunge died.
It depends on. I disagree with that, but you're a young lad. You weren't there when it happened, so it's understandable. It's understandable. That's youth. I think that's youthful lack of knowledge is what I will frame that on there. But we can talk about that off camera. So, what do you think? What's the learning curve when kind of understanding all that? Because you think about ring psychology, you think about the entertainment aspect, and you also have to think about your personal health.
I would say it's steep and very fast. So you have to be ready at all times. I mean, you have to get yourself ready mentally, physically, and possibly spiritually to go out there and say if someone was to look at you and say, hey man, we want to bring you in. You have to be ready for that. You have to be aware of, anything could happen at any moment. Someone could call you up, they could see what you're doing and say, you know what, I like that guy. I want to bring him this way. So you have to be ready by yourself. You have to get the tools you need. You have to be hungry. You have to plan everything. I mean, I would not be here if I didn't have a successful group of people behind me, supporting me. I have a list of 5 people I could call up and they'll tell me, hey, you need to work on this. You need to get this stuff down. Do you have this ready because you're a businessman?
So you just need to be open to feedback and criticism?
Absolutely. And you cannot get in your feelings about it. I mean, for the first 6 months of being in the Wrestling Academy, every day I would mess up, I would stutter, I would trip over my own feet. And the next day, apply that stuff I had yesterday, the lessons that they would give me, bring it to the next day and improve. That's all you can do. As a person, take it on the chin, bring it in, accept the knowledge, and bring it right back to square one.
What is a healthy amount of ego to bring, though? Because you're going to have, obviously, when you see people cutting promos, it's a very braggadocious thing. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have a certain amount of ego, maybe a smidgen of narcissism to an extent, to be able to be successful in this business.
Absolutely. You have to have all of that. And I will say that's one thing I struggle with. I'm a very humble guy, right? I give a lot. And so I'll find myself at time giving too much and not worrying about what I need to do.
Kind of move into this, like the wrestling itself. What are some of your favorite types of matches you like to be involved with?
Well, the most fun I have is usually the Rumbles. I'll say like the few Rumbles I've been in, everybody comes in, they do the little entrance, everybody goes in and get a pop, boom. And it's just all around fun. Everybody has a great time with it, right? And all the stories that you'll have going off of it. A lot of the times I'm usually in the hardcore bouts, and I'm fine with that. There's a lot of cool stuff I like to think about. How can we make sure that what we're doing tonight is going to be remembered? What are they going to talk about when they leave tonight? I like to have that mentality that, okay, whenever they leave this event tonight, who are they going to remember? I'm really hoping they're going to say Hold My Beer Hanson and what he did. Did you see how Hold My Beer Hanson almost died getting slammed on that ladder? Do you remember? I mean, there's a lot of dumb things that happen.
How far are you willing to go with that? Particularly, you talk about pay. As I can only imagine what it is to get paid on the indie circuit as people are learning their trade and their craft. Because there has to be, I would say, a cost-benefit analysis of this. Like, how much are you willing to, I guess, physically put yourself in harm's way?
Are you saying how much is my job worth?
Yeah, because I mean, if it's something you want to continue on, there's a certain point to where like 150, 200 people, and whether it's in Valdosta or Macon or fill in the blank places that Dorian and I have gone to, versus even in like in a bigger promotions. I think fill in the blank, NWA, AEW, WWE, so on.
I'll say there's a level. There's a level of love versus monetary. So money, you got your base pay, boom, you come in for this, and you'll give them a taste of what you are, and you'll make sure you're remembered. But then again, if you learn to love a promotion, say if you got a home base, I mean, I have two right now. I have Spinebuster and I have Platinum. They let me live, they let me do my thing, they let me be creative. So the amount of stuff I'm willing to do, I mean, is a lot higher than what I would do for a lot of other promotions. But that's just due to your love. You're willing to put your body online to make sure the people that are seeing you regularly can say, oh, look, Hold My Beer Hanson, that's our guy right there. That's the stuff that he's doing. That man, he's dumb as can be. But man, I love everything he's doing. I mean, I say I'll go through a lot of pain depending on how much I love the place I'm working at. I mean, you got to have commitment either way. I mean, you can't be doing, a jump off of a ladder if you don't love it.
I would agree.
But you also got to be stupid.
I would agree with that as well.
You got to be really stupid to be doing half the stuff we're doing.
Moving things to, you talk about doing what you love. How do you think wrestling is going to change in light of everything that's happened with small promotions and we see the discussions going on online about safety for fans, safety for wrestlers, and I think I'm hoping 2021 is going to be the new 2020, and we're going to go to a new normal. But what is that going to be like? Do you perceive for as a wrestler? I don't want you to speak for a promotion because I don't think that would be fair.
I don't really, because I don't have any say so on that. It's not my business.
Right.
I mean, they're gonna bring me in regardless, and they're gonna, hey man, here's the bill. We're gonna do a little of this. But the deal is, I think maybe more guidelines are gonna be put on it right now. I see some promotions running right now, and we're in the midst of all this stuff. So, yeah, people are gonna have to be strict on it. People are gonna have to accept the fact that, hey, we're gonna have to be 6 feet apart. We're gonna have only 25 people in a room, right? At this moment, I mean, what is this, June?
Yeah.
This for a time frame here. So we're going to have these guidelines. We're going to have these strict criteria to hold. But once it's all back, I feel like fans are going to be appreciative. Fans are going to be clamoring for it. They're going to want wrestling back normal. There's a lot of promotions right now that are not going to run because you cannot make money right now. You're only 25 people in there. Well, you got a roster of, 20 people? You're not going to make your money back. You're not going to pay the rent on the room. You're not going to have everything paid off, if you're only paying for 25 tickets?
Right. You're out of pocket at that point.
Yeah. At that point, losing money.
What changes are you going to have to make then? Obviously, it's dictated, Dave, by whatever, if there's a sports commission or also maybe even by the county level is going to happen. What precautions or things are you thinking about as you're going into this as a wrestler?
That's hard because a handshake is still like a sacred thing, right?
Correct. And wrestling, it is a really big thing.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe we're going to be bumping elbows. Maybe I'm going to have to stay away from a lot of people. Maybe I can't be in the locker room hanging out with everybody. Typically, I don't do that anyway. I like to stay alone and pull my opponent aside and say, hey, man, we're going to do our thing, but I'll let you know. I'm not going to be anywhere.
You kind of go back to, you're talking about the mindset and the learning curve with this. How have you adjusted since your first days at Spinebuster Wrestling Academy to, so let's just say this days when we're recording this, what are some of the biggest changes you had to make in yourself to be what you deem as successful in this business?
That's a hard question because, I mean, the change is obviously that I've focused slowly on trying to build what I've been doing here and I'm becoming essentially what I wanted to be. I'm doing the exact things I wanted to do. Hold My Beer Hanson is the guy that you see. You see him hanging out with you at the party. But guess what? He's also doing this crazy stuff in the ring. And I'm inspiring you to maybe go follow your dreams, right? I'm living mine. I'm doing exactly what I want to do in my life. And if you can't go have that drive, I'm a 24 years old at this moment right now. And I've done nothing and sat on the couch, played video games and all that. But I just decided, you know what? I need to go do what I want to do in my life. And you got to grab it. You got to go for it, or else you're just going to let it pass you by. And you're always going to have that thing of, you know what? I should have done this. I don't want to be that. I want to say that I've done this, 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 and this. I can't go look back because, you know, that ain't going to matter.
Are you saying you've become more active in your choices versus passive?
I become more passionate.
Okay.
I would say passion is the driving force behind everything I'm doing. I am not going to be sitting here doing these crazy videos. I'm not going to be taking these wild bumps or, you know, putting my face on these flyers and trying to promote as much as I can, trying to share everybody, like make sure everything in the wrestling business is seen around me that I care about if I did not have passion.
Okay. Seems to be a mantra that you have here.
It's all flowing right now.
It's flowing down. If someone wanted to follow in your footsteps and get into the wrestling game, what advice would you give them?
Get up. Stop sitting around. Look at what you want to do. Get your game plan. Get the people behind you that actually care. And you know what? Grab onto that. Hold on for dear life, because those people that are behind you and they're helping you out, they have your back. So make sure you're trying to get where you want to be. Do the things you want to do, because you can't sit back and let things pass you by. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is still there. Today you need to get up and do what you want to do.
With passion.
Passion.
With passion. You got to add hashtag with passion.
With passion.
Maybe we're coming up with hashtags for you today. What is some of the best advice you have received in your short tenure of being in this business, this racket?
In my first year alone, I've met many of men that have inspired me, told me things that I need to just... There's so much advice because you're young, you're hungry, and I'm asking questions constantly. I'm trying to find these people that are influential. There are men that I've personally searched out because I knew that maybe they could help me. And I've asked so many questions, and the things I keep asking are, what can I improve on? The one thing I need to understand, and I'm still trying to grab a hold of it, is that when you're out here and you're doing this wrestling thing, nothing is bigger than what you are. It may sound egotistical, right? But if you aren't confident in what you're doing, how can anyone believe you? So one advice I got from a man named Matt Hankins: nobody is bigger than Hanson. And I sat back and I have a leather journal, right? I have a leather journal that I write down notes. I write down things in my life, and I write down things that are influential, like that build on my life. Once someone reads this journal, they're gonna like, this guy's crazy. I don't understand what's going on here. But I was out and I was in a new place, debut. He gives me the mic. You're gonna cut a promo, first night. I'm young, right? And I'm scared. I get out there, yeah, I'm gonna stutter. Things go wrong, and the promo, it ain't that great, but I can at least hang on what I got.
Right.
So he gets to the back and he says, listen, man, you're young, and that's why you can try out and you can do anything here. But you need to understand, nothing is bigger than Hanson. You have to have that passion. You have to have that ideal that whatever you're doing is going to be the best thing here. Doesn't matter what that guy's going to do before you or after you. Whatever you're doing, it's the best thing there, and you better make it the best thing.
One of the final questions we like to ask all our guests is, what do you know now that you wish you would have known when you started? Other than passion, but I think you maybe had it, you just had to discover it.
Yeah. Give of yourself. As much as you give to others, remember that you also have yourself to give to. You can push as much as you want for these things that are around you, but also do not forget that you still have a business to yourself to attend to. Your body, your mind, you have to make sure, yes, you may be making sure your buddy is all right. You got to be making sure that the bills are paid. But also don't forget, you still have yourself, your vessel, your body, everything to take care of as well to keep everything running. Don't forget that, hey, you still are a person. You still have stuff you need to do. Don't forget there's other people involved, but also you have yourself you got to take care of. Don't abuse it. Don't forget it.
Is that something when did you discover that one?
I want to say the beginning of this year. I want to say around January. It's just a lot of things, September. I'll give you a little snippet here. So I had the match with Brother Azrael. Mm-hmm. And I was dumb. He's a 350-pounder. I'm not going to the gym every day, squatting 350 pounds. That's crazy. But you know what? I was dumb enough, and I did it. I lifted him on my shoulders, boom, got him up, dropped him. Little did I know, that actually caused a lot of injury. We go to dinner after that show. I can't walk. My back's frozen. I got sharp pains shooting straight down.
Right.
And turns out, a few days later, I go to the ER. I got fractures on my L4 and L5. So turns out it was because, my dumb self decided to squat up this man, and I got myself hurt. So, it put a lot of things into perspective. Wrestling can be gone like that. You did all this crazy things, and for as much as what you're doing, you need to understand how much you're putting of yourself out there and for how much you're getting back.
So be aware of your boundaries at that point in time.
It put everything in perspective. It was the lesson I had to learn. Then I go through, and we don't rest till January in Spinebuster, right? So I said, you know what, I'm going to take this time, I'm going to heal up. I was out of work. I had bills I still had to pay. Things were shutting down. Things were just closing off around me. Then I lost the job. Boom, 401k had to be drained out. All the money's coming out. I'm losing money. I'm relying on my roommate. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling low. This is the lowest time in my life and during the holidays. January rolls around. I get healed up. I'm back. I did all the DDP yoga I could. I stretched out my back. I worked, made sure everything's working. Doctor says I'm clear. I'm coming back. January's here. I get back in my first match, and it's the greatest feeling you could have back because you've lost everything. and you just get that rush back to you and it regenerates. But that knowledge is still there, so feed it in. Take what you've learned, apply, evolve. So now that whole perspective came in, and now Hold My Beer Hanson is exactly where he wants to be right now. Yeah, the world stopped. Wrestling's gone right now. But exactly what you see is because I'm putting out these videos, I'm putting out, making sure I'm in the limelight, making sure that I am seen, because I do not want to be forgotten. I don't want Hold My Beer Hanson to be just another indie guy. Oh, you know what? Hey, wrestling's gone, so we ain't really going to see these guys. You know what? We're going to share these videos. We're going to make sure everybody sees Hold My Beer Hanson, because you know what? When he steps back in that ring, you're going to care. I don't understand how anyone could just sit back and just let everything slide by during this time. This should be the time for everybody to plan. This should be the time for everybody to focus on their business or their self and grow.
Well, where can people find your videos, your content, what you're putting out to the world, so people do keep your name on their tongues?
All right, we got a long list here. So check out Hold My Beer Hanson on Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter. I don't really use Twitter because, you know, reading's for rich people. But you can check it out at Hanson Beerman Hanson or Hanson Beerman, whichever one there. Also, I got a podcast coming out. It's going to be called Hanging with Hanson. We're working on it right now. We got a few things we got to work on before we put out the first episode, but they're coming soon. So go ahead, subscribe, check it out. Also, don't forget that there is the Professors of Wrestling here. Check them out on Facebook and YouTube. And would you like to say anything?
I would like to say thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
And as was asked of you, check us out. We're on Facebook. Just look for the Professors of Wrestling. We're on YouTube. We're on Podbean now for people who just want to download it, listen to it in the gym, or you're walking, you're doing yard work. We're on the Podbean Professors of Wrestling. And look for more new content. We're putting out a bunch of these interviews. We're still putting out our regular podcast as the best as we can, and we're still striving to be Taco Bell famous. So I'm Dave Nelson for the Professors of Wrestling. Thanks for checking us out.